Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about Creed 3. Now, when I heard about this movie, it did fill me with excitement after watching the first two Creed movies. I definitely think they are very well put together boxing films that really capture emotion, drama very well. So I had some excitement for this movie, but also there was some apprehension hearing the fact that Sylvester Stallone wasn't in this movie as Rocky Balboa, and potentially could the feel of this movie kind of dwindle after that. And I think overall, I actually think this is a very good movie, but I do feel this is probably the weakest of the three Creed movies. So yeah, I'm going to kind of give it a little plot summary of this film. So basically now Adonis Creed has defeated Ricky Conlan in the rematch fight for him to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. And since then, he decided to retire from the sport and now focuses on living with his wife, focusing on with his wife Bianca and their daughter Amara. And now Adonis Reed's run a boxing academy to train and promote students. And since that period, he comes up meeting up with his old friend called Damian Anderson, who got sentenced and was sentenced to jail for 18 years, and now wants to kind of pick himself up from boxing. Now, I'm going to kind of talk about some of the things that I do like about this film. So, some of the good points I want to point out is that the soundtrack of from the film is very good. There's really a lot of good music in this movie, and they've done that very well. Um, Also, I think the acting is also very well. They really do capture the drama very well as trying to interact with good dialogue as well, building up emotions and just building up the feelings of trust within friends such as Adonis Creed and Damian Anderson being close friends to each other. But then all of a sudden things boil over, and now they become enemies and rivals, and those sort of emotional changes is very good, and the way they capture that is very well. Also, I think the thing that is really good about this one, I think it's definitely better than I've seen probably from the other two movies, is that they definitely get the visuals very well. The visuals are really good. The lighting is great, the color palette is really good, and I do feel at times as well with some of the fights as well, they don't really emphasize so much on the slow motion as they could. I think the other slow motion jabs and as well as the hooks and everything, they really had more of a presence that actually looked more, felt more real, and they really, I think they captured it well, but it wasn't the sort of the same feel of how the other two movies came across. But overall, the visuals do impress in this film. Now, speaking about the fights in this film, one thing that I would say that was a bit of a disappointment to me was the last fight of the movie, where Adonis Creed fights Damian Anderson. And I think the problem I have with it is its pacing. It was just a bit underwhelming. So they do capture a lot of the slow motion, the the jabs, the uppercuts as well. But they have a very weird sequence where they all kind of go into a different sort of a visual environment where it's just them fighting and there's no crowd, so they kind of isolate themselves from the reality of where they are. And they really paced it far too much, because it literally paced itself literally from the second round of the fight all the way to like the final round, and it felt really rushed to me. I felt they really should have captured more of the actual fight itself, of actual the struggles and the pain, and I don't think they really got that very well in this final fight. It was pretty lackluster, but I do think there was some good things though. But majority of the time, the last fight was, I think, was a bit of a letdown to me. But yeah, other points I want to draw into this film as well. I do also feel the pacing of this movie is kind of lackluster. It's also kind of all over the place. So sometimes they would have some sequence in the movies where they would sort of change from sequence to sequence really quickly. Um, and sometimes I kind of just lost my train of thought of really trying to understand where things really happen and what's going on in each part. So I felt the pacing at times was not very chronological at times. Um, but also, I do think the acting is good. I mean, Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed, he definitely does impress as well as Tessa Thompson's role as Bianca. Definitely their relationship is good in this film, but it's not the strongest compared to the other two. Um, but also Jonathan Majors' character as Damian Anderson is really good, but the beginning was really slow, so we never really get much of his character in the beginning of the film. I think really when he kind of turns against Adonis, I think that's when we really see the real performance and that persona really come out. And I think that that's probably what it's done pretty well. But overall, I think this is a very good movie, but sadly, it is not the strongest compared to the other two. So, overall, if I had to rate this movie, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Now, I think for some, maybe that's kind of pushing it. Maybe some are not so overall keen on this particular one, but and probably would rate it lower. I think that's probably like the highest point I would rate this movie. It's going to be hard to know what the direction of the Creed movies will go or the Rocky franchise will go in the next few years or so. But it's a good film, very good movie. I definitely think if you still like the two movies, I think you would still like this one. But it's not the strongest. And yeah, that's about it. See you later.